What if the thing you're chasing every day, the promotion, the perfect relationship, the finally I'll be happy moment, is the very trap that keeps you restless? And what if the people who figured that out were walking around in sandals 2,000 years ago, arguing in the street like it was a sport? Picture this. It's late at night, your phone is glowing in the dark, and you're scrolling like you're digging for meaning at the bottom of an endless well. You see other people's lives looking polished, fast, certain. Meanwhile, your own thoughts feel messy and unfinished. You tell yourself you'll calm down once life makes sense. But here's the strange twist that ancient Greek philosophy would throw at you. Maybe life never makes perfect sense, and the good life begins the moment you stop demanding that it does. If you enjoy exploring timeless ideas from ancient wisdom, subscribe and hit the bell, because this story isn't just about old statues and dusty names. It's about what to do when your mind won't shut up, when your plans collapse, and when you're not sure whether you're living or just reacting. Now imagine Athens. Crowded streets, loud markets, sun on stone, and in the middle of it all, a man who looks like he should mind his business, but doesn't. Socrates. No book deals, no fancy robe, just questions that made powerful people uncomfortable. His whole mission was simple and terrifying: to expose the lies we tell ourselves. Socrates' philosophy wasn't about having answers, it was about refusing fake ones. He'd walk up to someone confident, someone certain they knew what success meant, what justice meant, what love meant, and he'd gently pull the thread until their certainty unraveled. And then he'd leave them standing there, not with a new opinion, but with something rarer: honesty. That's why his most famous line still stings. The unexamined life is not worth living. Not because you need to become a philosopher, but because so many of us are living a life we never actually chose. So let me ask you, when was the last time you examined your life? Not your schedule, not your goals, your life. Are you pursuing what you truly value, or what you've been trained to applaud? Socrates had this habit of acting like your inner voice, the one that whispers, "Are you sure?" And that whisper matters, because a lot of modern anxiety is just confusion wearing a loud costume. We chase things because everyone chases them. We fear things because everyone fears them. We call it normal. Socrates would call it sleepwalking. But Socrates didn't work alone in this story. After they sentenced him to death, yes, for questioning people too well, his student Plato tried to rescue the meaning of it all. Plato ideas are like a cinematic universe of big questions. What is real? What is good? Why do we keep choosing the wrong thing even when we know better? Plato imagined that most of us are like people chained in a cave, staring at shadows on a wall, mistaking them for reality. And honestly, doesn't that feel familiar? We stare at the shadows of other people's lives, highlight reels, rumors, brand images, shallow definitions of winning. We start chasing the shadow instead of the thing casting it. Think about ambition for a second. Is your ambition a real calling, or just a shadow of what you think you're supposed to want? When you picture your future self, are you seeing a true dream, or a story you borrowed from someone else? Plato would say the goal is to turn around, to face what's real, to climb out of the cave. Painful at first, because sunlight hurts when you've lived in darkness, but worth it, because you can't build a good life on illusions, even pretty ones. Then comes Aristotle, who feels less like a mystic and more like that practical mentor who sits you down and says, "Okay, enough drama, let's talk habits." Aristotle looked at human life and asked, what does it mean to flourish? Not to flex, not to impress, to actually thrive. His answer wasn't a magic trick. It was character, the kind you build slowly, the way you build a body at the gym, through repetition. Aristotle believed virtue isn't something you have, it's something you practice. Courage isn't a mood, honesty isn't a brand, patience isn't something you download. It's what you do when no one's watching, especially when it's inconvenient. And he had this idea called the golden mean, the sweet spot between extremes. Not cowardice, not recklessness, but courage. Not apathy, not obsession, but healthy care. Doesn't that sound like exactly what we're missing when life gets chaotic? So many of us swing between extremes, all hustle, then total burnout, endless people-pleasing, then sudden isolation, doom-scrolling panic, then numbness. Aristotle would quietly ask, What would balance look like today in your actual life? Not perfect, balanced. But balance doesn't erase pain, and it doesn't answer the hardest question. What do you do when life hits you with something you didn't choose? A breakup you didn't see coming, a job loss, an illness, a betrayal. This is where Stoic philosophy walks in, calm, steady, almost stubbornly unshakable. The Stoics, people like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, weren't trying to turn you into a cold robot. They were trying to free you from being yanked around by every headline, every insult, every bad day. Their core message is almost offensively simple. Some things are up to you, and some things aren't. Your choices, your effort, your attitude, yours. The weather, the past, other people's opinions, not yours. Epictetus said it plainly. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things. And you can feel that land, right? Because a lot of our suffering isn't the event itself. It's the story we build around it. The mind turns one awkward moment into a prophecy of rejection, one mistake into a verdict on your entire worth. So the Stoics would ask, what story are you telling yourself right now? Is it helping you live, or just helping you panic? And yet, even the Stoics knew you can't live on discipline alone. You need joy, you need warmth, you need friendship. This is where Epicurus gets misunderstood. People hear his name and think it means luxury, non-stop pleasure, indulgence. But Epicurus was almost the opposite. He believed happiness comes from simple pleasures, calm mind, close friends, and freedom from unnecessary desire. He didn't preach more, he preached enough. And isn't that the antidote to modern life? Because modern life is a machine that runs on dissatisfaction. It tells you you're one purchase away, one body upgrade away, one relationship away from being whole. Epicurus would sit you down, hand you bread and water, and say, if you can learn to enjoy this, you are harder to control. He'd probably look at our stress and ask, are you exhausted because life is hard, or because your desires have no finish line? Now here's where the story ties together, like threads pulled into one knot. Socrates teaches you to question your life instead of inheriting it. Plato teaches you to stop worshiping shadows and seek what's real. Aristotle teaches you to build yourself through small actions until virtue becomes natural. The Stoics teach you to stop begging the uncontrollable to behave. Epicurus teaches you to stop postponing peace until you have more. And somewhere in the middle of all that is a modern person, you, trying to figure out how to be okay in a world that constantly tries to sell you a new version of okay. So let's make it personal. What are you chasing right now? And if you caught it tomorrow, would you actually feel free? Or would your mind instantly move the goalpost again? What if the good life isn't a destination, but a way of walking? This is why ancient Greek philosophy still matters. Not because it's ancient, because it's honest. It doesn't promise you a life without pain. It teaches you a life with meaning. It doesn't say you'll always be happy. It teaches you how to stop being owned by fear, envy, and noise. It's Greek wisdom that feels like it was written for deadlines, dating apps, and late-night anxiety spirals. And I'm curious, do you agree with the Stoics that peace comes from controlling your judgments? Or do you lean more toward Epicurus, believing happiness is found in simplicity and friendship? Or maybe Socrates is your person, the one who won't let you lie to yourself. Tell me in the comments where you land, because different seasons of life call for different kinds of strength. In the end, the most shocking thing about ancient Greek philosophy might be this. The good life isn't built by winning every external battle. It's built by winning the internal one, choosing virtue over ego, truth over comfort, and peace over endless wanting. And if you enjoyed this journey into ancient Greek philosophy, subscribe to the channel and join us as we explore timeless ideas that still shape how we live today.